Champions of Otherworldly Magic is one of the most hyped new digital card games, especially in the on-chain world, but there's one problem. Onboarding is tough. There's no tutorial. You really need a friend to walk you through everything, to explain the combat system, the marketplace, the crafting, the gameplay modes, the tournaments, what kind of deck list you should use. But what if you don't have any friends? Wait, that's a little bit extreme. What I meant to say is, what if you don't have any friends who are ready to show you champions right now? Well, don't worry, I got you covered. Q Flux here. You can just call me Flux. Let me walk you through ChampionsTCG. Let me try to take like 10 minutes or less and just break down all the basic stuff that you need to know. Let's start out with the combat system, in particular, evolutions. You need to know how evolutions work. I'll join you on the battlefield to show you how that works. All right, so when you start playing, you get offered a mulligan. The mulligan system is still being worked on. If you say yes, you get the same amount of cards, -1. I'm going to say no there. And main thing you need to know with the combat system is it's Hearthstone style. So you play creatures, you attack your opponent, attacker chooses the target. You want to hit them in the face and try to reduce their health, all that stuff. But a really important part of this game is evolutions. So most creatures are part of an evolutionary line, kind of like in Pokemon TCG. Now, eggs are a little bit special, but we're going to start with this because I just happened to draw this. So, an egg can evolve into any creature of the same type. This is an air-type egg, so a great example of how evolutions work. This card costs 9. It would be 9 energy to play this because its effect is very strong. It's 8 damage to the opponent's creatures and to their face. However, if I evolve the egg into Cyclonius, it only costs 1 energy, and I draw a card, so let's do it. My energy goes from 2 down to 1. I play the creature for 1 energy, and I just drew this extra card. Then I could also play this if I want, but in this case, it's not a very good idea. Don't worry about the details. I just want to save that because it has a strong keyword, Quantum Shift. As you can see, when you hover over cards, it'll show you what the effect does. It'll also show you if it has an evolutionary line. So this one is Bog to Booger to Blight Ooze. Leaving aside the funny names, it's just helpful to see that, so you can always check. And eggs, like I said, are special. Now, as far as combat, it's Hearthstone. Attack, kill, take 4 damage. I still got 6 attack. You know, attack hits the health. Damage is sticky. All that good stuff. I can play Astro. I can play another egg. You'll also notice if eggs die, they evolve. Or, I'm sorry, if eggs die, the afterlife summons a random creature. So lots of stuff, but the big thing to keep in mind is when you evolve a creature, this is a high roll like crazy, getting an 8/8. Eggs are probably going to get nerfed pretty soon because those afterlives are kind of crazy. You're getting the gist, though, of how this works, right? You want to run evolutionary lines in your decks, and you want to evolve as much as you can. I think I win from here. Feels good to win the demonstration match when you are when you're distracted, when you can't pay enough attention. Yeah, they use AoE Fungorth, but that only makes Vile Grub stronger. And so in this case, it does end in a big win. Just for the record, getting that win, no worries. All right, nice. 16 points. So what if you need to look up the keywords? Just go to the homepage, ChampionsTCG.com. I'll put the link in the description as well. There's a bunch of stuff right on the homepage. First off, a breakdown of the card. So you've got the rarity, the element, the attack, the health, the ability, and the mana cost. And the abilities are just keywords, so that doesn't have the description on the card itself. You can just go to the homepage right here and scroll down. Every single keyword is listed. A couple that you might want to be really familiar with. Earthquake damages all cards except this card for the amount of damage. It could be 2 to 3, but it also could be more or less, depending on what the card says. Whirlwind sends cards back to your hand. So Whirlwind can bounce stuff. Rush is your blitz, your God Blitz, your haste. Rush lets it attack right away. Greed is a strong draw effect. Draw 1 card. Or if the creature that you play is the only creature on the field, you can draw 2, which is very strong. What else is interesting? Windseeker. Target any card on the field and then draw that card's evolution. If it's not in your deck, you draw a random card instead. So you can find evolutions using Windseeker. A couple free cards you can use for that are Strawbash and Berrycane. Quantum Shift. Swap this card with the opponent's lowest HP cards. So some of these need to actually have some slight upgrades. Like there's been some patches, some balance adjustments, but this will give you a general sense, and I'll talk to the team. We'll get these updated to be the latest stuff. But this is a good resource just to look up all those keywords. It is a lot, but I promise you play the game for a few days, you'll start remembering them. They're not that hard to remember. Next up, let's look at the marketplace. So if you want to buy or sell cards, there's two places you can do it. First off, in the top bar, there's a tab that says Market. And if you go here, you'll have the gems. Yeah, they added a new option. I'm actually not sure. BSV, I don't know if that uses your hand cash balance or not. Let's ignore BSV for right now. But if you just go to the gem thing, you can use your gems, which is like your in-game virtual currency, to buy and sell cards in here. So this is one way you can pick up cards that you're missing. If you wanted to buy, let's say I want to buy a Cinder Imp, I would just click this, I would buy it. It's going to spend one of my gems, or a fraction of my gems. I'm not even sure how that's going to look. Sometimes it takes a second here. There we go. So I purchased the card. I spent one gem. That's one way you can buy cards. Now, what I usually do, what I prefer to do, is use hand cash. This is the main wallet and marketplace people tend to use for BSV assets. The backend that this game uses is the BSV blockchain. You really don't need to worry about that. If you're a crypto nerd, you can always learn about it, but you don't need to really give a shit about it. You can just ignore that. All you need to know, when you get rewards in the game in the form of dollars, that's actually BSV tokens, and you can buy and sell stuff in the marketplace using those. So if you're looking, let's say, oh, I need to buy a Fuku. Okay, you look up Fuku, you see the normal Fuku, you see the various different cosmetic versions. I don't even have Japanese Fuku, so maybe I'll buy two of these, right? So I'll just buy one. It's going to cost me $1.29. And then let's buy one more for good measure, a playset. Boom. So now I've added another cosmetic variation. In this case, it's the Japanese Fuku. And you can just do that for any card in the game. You can also buy and sell packs. People usually dump some of their packs when they play a lot of Arena, so you can get cheap Gen 3 packs, Gen 4 packs. So lots of stuff on the marketplace, and you will notice different types of packs. What are those? How do those work? Well, let's keep moving. Let me show you how crafting works. So going back to the main, the app, ChampionsTCG.com/app. If we go to the inventory tab up here, right? So third from the left, play, leaderboard, inventory. If we go to inventory, we can see I've got tons of cards, lots of cool stuff, some cosmetic variants, and all kinds of stuff. My tournament Fuku playset, which I really like. All kinds of good stuff. But if I go to crafting, you'll see a ton of shards. This is one of those things that looks confusing, but if you do it, it's really simple. So I'm not even going to explain, I'm just going to do it. You can see we have different types of shards. Long story short, you can use these to make different types of packs. You get shards by burning cards, then you use them to enhance packs. So you can burn any card in the game. Be careful not to burn your super rare collector's stuff for no reason. But let's say I want to burn one copy of this common card. I'm going to burn a cream puff, all right? So I just say quantity to burn 1. I click burn. The card is destroyed. I no longer own the card. No one owns it. It is burned. It is no longer, it's like ripping up a card in real life. That card is done. And it gives me some shards. In this case, it gave me 1 ice shard and 1 common shard. So if I go to crafting, I have lots of shards from lots of different stuff. Let's go ahead and take the water shards. And as you can see, I've even got a fire pack just chilling. Let's say I want to make a Gen 4 water pack. So I click craft after choosing my water shards. It asks me, am I sure that I want to enchant a Gen 4 pack with 10 water shards? It will produce a Gen 4 water pack. I hit confirm. I wait a minute, let it do its thing. And then once it's done cooking, it's going to give me a pack, which is going to have the cool artwork, and it's going to be a water pack. I could even bring this into a draft if I want. I could bring elemental packs and draft with them. If I just click out and go to my packs, it'll show up. Give it a second. It's loading. Oh, okay. It just needs a minute. I know it's there. It just needs a minute. There it is. I literally it's been like 10, 20 seconds. That was, as soon as I stopped, it showed up. So there we go. Gen 4 water pack as well as fire pack. And I can literally click on the pack. I could list it on the market. I could send it to someone else, or I can open it. Let's open the pack. Give me the blue lily, the rarest card in the set. Do it. Do it right now. Hold on, it'll pop up. Don't panic. If that happens, don't panic. There you go. If it doesn't show up, just don't click anything. It'll be fine. So, all right, nothing too crazy, although I did get 3 stubbies. Stubby is really good. I like to include that in starter decks, so that's actually pretty cool. Maybe I should make more water packs to get more stubbies, because that's a good starter card. Good defensive, like AoE removal defense card. Next up, briefly, let's go over gameplay modes, okay? So you have play ranked, play arena, and then in ranked, you're actually going to have 2 options when you click on it, standard format or legacy. So this is going to change over time. The game's pretty young. Formats always take time to figure out. Right now, the main ranked format by far is standard constructed format. So you build a deck using your collection, queue up, and play against someone else who plays with their deck. A constructed format. Standard means you can use cards from Gen 2, 3, and 4. You cannot use cards from the very first set, Gen 1. Those can only be played in Legacy. And looking at the leaderboards, you'll see, because the game is pretty young, Standard mode is very active. We've got the top 200, all with a lot of games, and that's just, the top slice of the player base. This gives you an idea of how many players are active, considering this whole leaderboard was reset a few weeks ago. So this is a couple weeks of activity for the game. Really good. If you look at Legacy, as you'll see, 1 person played 2 games, 2 people played 2 games, 8 people played 1 game, and that's it. No one plays Legacy. There's just no demand for it right now. I think in the future, when there's more sets and then more cards aren't in Standard, there'll be a lot more motivation for Legacy. Right now, it's just a little early, but the option is there for anyone who wants to try to play Legacy. If people want to start queuing up in it, it is right there. But you're going to want to play Standard. Gen 1 is not the best set, in my opinion. Like, it's fun for nostalgia and collectability, but it's not, like, the best meta. You're not really missing out on much. Gen 2, 3, and 4 have been improvements, I think. So Standard is great. Now, as far as Arena goes, this is exactly inspired by Hearthstone Arena. And if you choose this option, you'll have the option to create a deck. You're going to pay 20 gems to do this. And then when you do, it's going to prompt you to build a deck. I mean, screw it. Let me show you how it looks. So you do this, and then you get this thing where you get 5 cards at a time. And you're just going to pick 1 card at a time until you build your deck. And you don't keep these. These are all virtuals. So in Arena, you do not keep the deck, but you do get rewards based on how well you do. Oasis is actually interesting. I'm gonna pick pretty quickly here. I'm not gonna think too hard. So if you're like a sweaty Arena player, just avert your eyes, look away. Yeah, some of y'all are gonna really enjoy Arena. For a lot of people, this is their favorite mode. Arena is definitely a fan favorite in the game, so I highly advise checking it out at least once. Rushed to make this while making a video. Lol. Okay, so that's how Arena works. If I queued up, I would play against someone else who'd done the same thing. And yeah, basically, you either win 3 or you lose 9, whichever... I'm sorry, opposite. You either win 9 or lose 3, whichever happens first. And based on that, you'll get these prizes. If you get 2 wins, you get 10 gems. 3 wins, you get a pack plus 15. 4 wins, you get a pack plus 20 gems. All the way up to 9 wins, which gives you 3 packs and 100 gems. So it is absolutely possible to be profitable in Arena if you're one of the best players, and that is something I think some of y'all could do fantastic with. That's pretty much all the gameplay modes. Now, tournaments, you'll notice, these are actually leftover tournaments that for some reason are still showing up, so I can show you what the UI looks like. We have tournaments built into the game. Your favorite game doesn't have this. The only other game I know of that really has this right now is Parallel. So shout outs to Parallel for having tournaments in the app. But yeah, we have tournaments every single day at Champions. The minimum prize pool is usually $75. There's at least one $75 event every weekday and a $500 weekend tournament every weekend. These are all part of a bigger thing, which is the Champions Pro circuit, basically. And long story short, Champions considers esports and competitive play to be our entire marketing approach. We think that if the competitive scene is healthy, that is the marketing, pretty much. It's an oversimplification, but that's pretty much. So participating in ladder, tournaments, drafts, and stuff will get you points, and only the top 256 people will be invited to the major events that will have a $2,500 prize pool, as well as the Worlds event, which is going to have a prize pool of at least $10,000, possibly quite a bit more. So tournaments are very strong. And if you want to find info on tournaments, go to the Champions Discord, go to the tournaments channel, and the info is posted every day. There's also the organized play channel in the tournaments category where the moment-to-moment communication happens. So if you like tournaments and competitive esports with real prize pools, all that stuff, Champions is probably about to be your new favorite game. Anyone who's been waiting around for that Gods Unchained World Tournament, come to Champions. We're ready. We're inviting you with open arms. Let us show you what actual esports looks like. You've been suffering for long enough. Okay. What else do we got? Oh, okay, cool. So after all this, you've got a pretty good understanding of how the game works. But one question that most people will sweep under the rug is, what the hell should you start playing with? And no, you're not asking for a shitty starter deck that you can lose 9 out of 10 games. What's an actual deck? What's an actual deck? Okay, well, listen. There's no perfect answer, but I've got 2 budget decks put together. One of them is Mud Flood. This is the list right here. And then another one is Supercharge, which has a list right here. In both cases, there's an explanation, a sample video that shows off the deck. I actually have to add that stuff for the second, so I'll add info for the second deck right after I'm done recording. But I will link this in the description, and I'm hoping to find 3 more. My goal is to figure out 5 viable decks under $20 that starter players, new players can actually have fun with and have a chance to achieve a 50% or higher win rate. Not just like, here's some random cards, good luck, ha ha ha, because I hate that shit. I think we need to take starter decks more seriously. Like, why do our newest and least experienced players have to suffer with crappy starter decks? We can do better. So here's 2 examples. If you're in the Flux Discord, if you're part of the community, I've been giving out starter decks like candy. With that said, if you've never hung out before, it might be a little different. But for anybody who's been a part of the Flux community for a little while, just ask me, ping me in the Discord, hit me up wherever you know me, and I can probably send you a deck and help you get started. So this is linked in the description. And yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty good, right? That's pretty much what you need to know before you start playing Champions TCG. So welcome aboard. I think that Champions has potential to be a big, very successful card game that I think could really redefine what it means to do trading card games right. I think we've all gotten a little bit too comfortable with these games just not doing a good job. A lot of people aren't happy with Wizards of the Coast. Nobody's happy with Hearthstone. Nobody's happy with Gods Unchained. And a lot of the other games that I look at are kind of just in a weird place, especially these on-chain TCGs. So I think Champions, while not the only one by any means, I think it is one of the best bets that you can make, specifically with where you put your time. Buy whatever cards you want, whatever games you want, but put a couple hours a day into Champions, give it a few weeks, and I really think you will probably continue playing. I think most people who give this game a week put in 10 hours, 15 hours of gameplay, learn, figure out some decks. Like, I think once you get involved, you're not going to want to stop. It's really amazing what's happening at Champions. At any rate, thank you for watching. That's really all I got to say. I'll see you all on the battlefield. Flux signing out.